2023 was an incredible year for Beatles fans and vinyl collectors in general. But what exactly can we look forward to in 2024? I'm Andrew from Parlogram, and in this video, I'm going to take a look at what's in store in 2024 for both the Beatles and this channel. For the past 16 years, the year-on-year increase in vinyl sales has become an annual fixture in the media's New Year's stories, and this year is no exception. But it's not just us middle-aged folk who are driving those sales. A large part of the growth is coming from millennials and Gen Z, who are searching for a more rewarding experience than the instant gratification of streaming. Despite attempts by the big entertainment corporations to kill it off, physical media refuses to die. Sales of vinyl are now at their highest level since 1990 and rose in the UK by 12% last year to 5.9 million units. Although heritage acts such as the Beatles and the Stones top the list of physical media sales, newer artists such as Taylor Swift, Adele and Ed Sheeran are also driving the demand for physical media, not just on vinyl, but for CDs and even cassettes too. Also, research shows that unlike in the early days of the vinyl revival, when vinyl was being bought just to show off, young people are now actually playing the records they buy, and they're even spending money on good gear to play them on. The reopening of HMV's flagship store on Oxford Street in London, 4 years after its closure, is an encouraging sign for the industry. And while it's a long way from the heyday of the 70s and 80s, it gives fans and consumers another choice in the marketplace, as well as encouragement for artists to release their music on a physical format, even though the royalty rates on streaming are higher. However, this ongoing revival has given record companies the opportunity to increase prices. A new vinyl is almost becoming a luxury product. And whereas some can justify and afford spending €75 on an album such as this, that just isn't an option for many. So unless record companies are careful and they continue to pursue an aggressive pricing policy, they could bring the so-called vinyl revival to a shuddering halt. 2023 was an expensive year for Beatles fans. Both the black and coloured vinyl versions of the Red and the Blue albums, along with multiple variants of Now and Then, have stretched their pockets to the limit. Not to mention the questionable marketing policy of McCartney 3. But what delights await us in 2024? Although there's still a strong demand from a section of the market for physical products, such as box sets and deluxe editions, it's a hard road to navigate for the music companies in what is essentially a diminishing market. But don't worry, I don't think it's all over just yet. Based on recent history, Apple seems to prefer releasing new Beatles product within the safety net of an anniversary. The re-release of the Red and the Blue albums a few months ago are a prime example of that. Don't forget, we got 50th anniversary editions of Sgt. Pepper in 2017, the White Album in 2018, Abbey Road in 2019, followed by Let It Be in 2021, which, due to the pandemic, was understandably a little late for its 50th birthday. It was the Revolver set in 2022 which bucked that trend, as it wasn't tied to any specific anniversary. Disappointingly, the opportunity to celebrate several significant 60th anniversaries have already come and gone. There was nothing for either Please Please Me or With the Beatles, and there doesn't at the moment seem to be anything in the works for A Hard Day's Night either. But I'd love to be proved wrong. The smart money at the moment is on Rubber Soul as being the next deluxe box set, but nothing has yet been confirmed. February 2024 will see the 60th anniversary of the Beatles' arrival in America. The release of an already restored version of The Washington Show, which appeared as an iTunes exclusive in November 2010, would be a fitting celebration. But again, this looks unlikely at the time of recording. And that's a real shame because by the time the next 10-year anniversary comes around, most first-generation fans will sadly no longer be with us. Talking of live shows, Peter Jackson, after admitting to buying them, is supposedly hard at work on restoring the Star Club tapes. But at the moment, that remains an unofficial project and is unlikely to yield any result for at least another year, if at all. However, there is more clarity on what we can expect as far as solo Beatles material goes in 2024. The Lennon Estate, which has already produced some very well put together box sets, has just announced Mind Games, the Ultimate Collection, consisting of 72 tracks spread over 6 CDs and 2 Blu-rays, which is due for release in June. There will also be a 288-page hardback book about it too. The situation is more complicated over at MPL, but one release we are definitely getting this year, in February in fact, is a new 50th anniversary edition of Band on the Run. Now, while many of you may not be interested in adding yet another copy of this album to your collection, there will be an expanded edition which will feature an underdubbed mix of the album. And although the remaster itself will not be radically different from the 2010 version, the vinyl will be pressed at Optimal in Germany, so at least the pressing quality should be something to look forward to. Other albums celebrating their 50ths this year are George's Dark Horse, Ringo's Goodnight Vienna, and John's Walls and Bridges, whilst Give My Regards to Broad Street and Milk and Honey are 40 this year. But I'll eat my hat if we see anything from those. Unfortunately, the McCartney Archive series appears to be at this point dead in the water, and with Capitol now in charge of things, I wouldn't put any money on the long-awaited Back to the Egg London Town set being released anytime soon. But again, I'd love to be proved wrong. Understandably, perhaps, Paul himself is more interested in looking forwards rather than backwards, and is expected to release a brand new album in 2024. He's been working with producer Andrew Watt, who he described as a young boy with a lot of front. And it was, of course, Watt who recently produced the widely acclaimed Rolling Stones album Hackney Diamonds, so his collaboration with Paul could produce some adventurous results. Now, although it's impossible to guess what Apple are going to give us this year, after all, who could have predicted Now and Then or the Red and the Blue albums this time last year? I can tell you with a lot more certainty what's in store for this channel in the coming year. "1964 is now 60 years ago, which gives us the perfect excuse to celebrate all this.
1964!
Here they are, the Beatles!
To start off with, in February, we'll be celebrating the 60th anniversary of their first US visit, and videos are already in the works for I Want to Hold Your Hand, the A Hard Day's Night album, as well as all the singles in between. I'll also be doing videos on selected solo albums. For example, I've just received this amazing book, which I think is the ultimate book about Paul's Tug of War album. It's written by Japanese author and fan Nobuhiro Nakai. This incredible 404-page book, written in both Japanese and English, documents the release of this album in 40 countries and features over 100 different pressings. As well as regular pressings, it also deals with master tapes, press releases, interviews, and indeed everything about and related to this amazing album. The level of detail in here is truly mind-blowing. If you'd like to get hold of a copy for yourself, I'll put a link in the description where you can order it from. But be quick, it's a very limited edition. We begin 2024 properly next weekend when we'll be looking at some Beatles bootlegs. More specifically, those from a huge collection of them on CD, which includes some incredibly interesting discs, including all the Dr. Ebbett series and other classic titles. In fact, I've already done a video of me unboxing and going through all 250 of them. So if that's something you'd like to watch, it's now available to channel members. As well as being able to view exclusive content, channel members also get to see our new videos a day early and without ads. So if you'd like to become a channel member yourself, you can find out more about it by clicking on the Join button below this video or by following the link in the description. It all helps to support and grow the channel, so please do check it out. Another thing we're planning to do this year is increase our activities over on Patreon. Building a community over there will give us the chance to deliver content like behind-the-scenes photos and footage and give you updates on what we're working on. This will also include exclusive video content, which doesn't really fit into YouTube, but which we think you'll find interesting. If you'd like to check that out, just follow the link in the description. Now, you may have recently seen on the channel that we acquired these stereo master tape reels for the Sgt. Pepper album, which were produced for Australia in 1981. They were duplicated from the original album master tape at 30 inches per second, and are possibly the highest quality dub tapes in existence. So one of our priorities this year is to A, find a way of hearing what's on these tapes, and B, getting them transferred to a high quality digital file. Now, this is something I'm already working on, so do stay tuned and find out what happens. I will be documenting the entire process for the channel. Of course, I'm always interested to hear about what you would like us to see us cover in the coming year, so please tell us your ideas and suggestions either in the comments or via the email address in the description. I promise I do read every single one. Our website, parallogramauctions.com, will also continue to stock high-quality Beatles and other vintage vinyl. And don't forget, if you would like to sell on the site and reach all the top Beatles collectors in the world, just drop us a line and we'll get a seller's account sorted out for you. So that's a quick overview on where things stand at the start of 2024. It'll be interesting to revisit this video this time next year to see if any of those releases and plans I've mentioned actually happen. And of course, those that didn't or we didn't expect. But in the meantime, I'll be back next week with a video about these CD bootlegs. But that's all for this one, so I'll say bye for now and thanks for watching.